honestly, I can't remember the last time that I was probably this excited when it came to any news when it's been involving Activision-Blizzard. If you've been on my channel recently, or if you look through my video history, you've seen that I've talked a lot of smack about Activision-Blizzard, especially in recent times, and a lot of it has been well deserved. The way that they've been handling a lot of their recent IPs, especially with the big one that, at least personally for me, has been the way that they've been dealing with Overwatch 2. The release for Overwatch 2, it was a little bit lackluster, but it was exciting at the same time because, there was a lot of hype, at least for the future of Overwatch 2. Then, the whole debacle of, them completely cancelling the PvE system that was initially promised to us. It was just extremely, extremely fucking disappointing. And then, the fact that they've now, putting out this lackluster PvE, and they're making it you have to pay for it now. So you're not giving them what they promised, and now you're giving them crap, pretty much. And then I don't really talk about it too much, but I talked about SM2, SM squared. I can't remember exactly how you pronounce it. But Activision sending a cease and desist letter to these modders who wanted to make a free to play Call of Duty mod. Where you can play, the old Call of Duties the way they initially were released. Because if you play the old Call of Duties now, especially multiplayer, it's just full of hackers, and the servers are just completely cooked. And apparently, you have there's big risks of your IP getting stolen as well. And Call of Duty, just even now, Warzone is just a complete mess and is totally terrible. In recent times, Activision-Blizzard, haven't really, they've been extremely disappointing. Besides Diablo 4 that recently came out, even that Diablo 4 is fun, but it's still missing, a few things. And we're very skeptical on the future of Diablo 4 because the release is very good, but the future of it, it was still in question because how is this game going to go, especially with Activision Blizzard's recent timeline. It's very scary, and not really, there's not really much hope to where it was going to go. But today, at least the time of me recording this, by the time it's come out, it will be a day ago. But today, we have good news. And this was extremely, extremely good news. So a few months ago, Microsoft wanted to buy out Activision Blizzard, but they were blocked by Sony and also legally by the Federal Trade Commission. And they filed a lawsuit against Microsoft to prevent them from buying Activision Blizzard. But today, that has been completely nullified. And the judge has ruled that Microsoft is now allowed to move forward with the accusation of Activision Blizzard. And this, my friends, this is probably the best thing. And I'm not joking. A lot of people, a lot of people are saying, are just going about this saying they're they're just trying to do this. They're doing it to cuck Sony, and that's the only thing to get out of this is that it's just all to get one up on Sony. Well, on the base, on the surface, it does look like that, and that is definitely one thing, because Sony have a lot of exclusives and a lot of extremely good exclusives, especially with Spider-Man and recently Final Fantasy 16, which has gotten a lot of success. Sony has a lot of good exclusives, and that is a reason why they're probably winning the console wars, at least for the last two generations. You could say that the last really good Xbox was Xbox 360. A lot of their exclusives were good, the hardware was good. Nowadays, PlayStation are just wiping the floor with Xbox. When it came out, the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, the Xbox One was terrible. At least this generation's Xbox, I think, is a little bit better, but the PlayStation was just winning mainly because of the exclusives. The exclusives is where they're running. And that's what it looks like on the surface. But honestly, to me, this is just so good if you are just a gamer in general. Because this is going to do so well and so good for a lot of Activision Blizzard's IPs. If you don't believe me, I'm just gonna I'm gonna talk a little bit more about a little bit more than I do in recent videos, just because I'm really excited about the future for Activision Blizzard. So if you look in Microsoft's recent track record, especially recently, they've been acquiring a lot more IPs to try and contend and keep up with Sony as well, which is absolutely fair enough and is really smart, and they have the money to do it. Microsoft have the money to do it. Now, obviously, you know, when it comes to their gaming, their Xbox Game Studios is what Microsoft do all their video game publishing through. So if you go up to search on Microsoft Games online, it won't come up with that. It'll just come up with like the Microsoft Store. So if you want to look yourself, you can just go Xbox Game Studios and look at the recent acquisitions and the publishing that they've done. And I honestly think that in recent times, especially with a lot of their new acquisitions, they've done really well, at least so far, and it's looking promising of what they're putting out so far. So if you don't know, in 2021 they also acquired I think it's ZeniMax Media, which you know, you probably don't know that if you hear that, but they were the parent company for Bethesda and ID Software, which is probably the main two, especially Bethesda. And obviously now, you know, Microsoft own Bethesda, and if you don't know who Bethesda is, you shouldn't be fucking watching this video anyways, because you obviously don't give a shit about fucking video games. But Bethesda, like, you know, the fact that they've, you know, taken over Bethesda, you know, and Bethesda just have more than just Elder Scrolls, you know, and Skyrim, you know, and you know, the future for that's looking really good. And ID Software is another one. They're the developers of Doom, and if you haven't played any of the recent Doom games, you have to play both. I just played the first recent one, and that's amazing. And apparently, one of my best mates has played Doom Eternal, and he said it's fucking incredible as well. So it's really good to see, you know, the recent track record in at least what they've acquired. Then if you want to look at some of the recent games that they've published, they've actually done decently well. Psychonauts 2, that came out in 2021, I played that game, and it was a very, very good game. And the community and also critics alike liked that game. Forza speaks for itself. I know it's a racing game, you know, a lot of people don't like racing, but you still have to, you know, look at it. You know, Forza is an extremely good game, especially Forza Horizon 5. You know, that was regarded as an extremely fun and enjoyable racing game. Apparently, Age of Empires 4, which came out as well in recent times, that was published by Xbox Game Studios. A lot of people love that game, and apparently it's really good as well. Sea of Thieves, as much as at first it didn't have a lot of content, it's still got a die-hard fan base, and a lot of people extremely love that game as well. Grounded is another, like, a small game. There's a couple other small games like Grounded. Pentiment apparently is a really good game too. I think the only one that has been maybe a relatively disappointing, but I can't really put it too much on Xbox, I'd have to go more towards 343 Industries. Would have to be the release of Halo Infinite. The release was good, but since then, there's just been nothing added to the game. And personally, to me, ever since Bungie left Microsoft, Halo's kind of been dead anyways. I don't really, you know, consider Halo, you know, any good these days anymore. The Halo, the Master Chief Collection was really good, though. Like, that is how you do a remaster. The Halo Master Chief Collection is how you do a remaster. That game is extremely, extremely well done. Then if you want to look at games that they've got upcoming, they're promising a lot of games that are coming out, not just this year, but in the future, ones that have been dated and ones that, you know, there's a lot of games that are just TBA at the moment, but it's a lot to look forward to. They're re-releasing the Fable series. The Fable series was a very beloved series. The first two games were extremely enjoyable. Critics and the community liked it a lot. Fable 3 apparently was a little bit of a flop. People didn't like it as much as the first two games, especially the second game. People liked that one a lot more. The Outer Worlds 2 is coming out. The first one wasn't published by Microsoft, but Microsoft did acquire the rights to the company, Obsidian Entertainment, which is the company that develops it. And they're now looking to release Outer Worlds 2. That's TBA at the moment. State of Decay 3, State of Decay 1 and 2 are extremely good games, and they're looking to release the third one as well. So you can obviously see that, you know, Microsoft is wanting to do a lot of good things, and the fact that they haven't put dates on this game, games actually give me a lot of hope, because especially in recent times, especially more Activision than Blizzard, I'd say, when it comes to Activision, they just release games that are unfinished, and it's really sad to see that as well. You know, Crash, the remastered, I can't remember, the Insane Trilogy, that's what it's called. That's probably the only game that I could say that's been released by Activision that is good. I feel like everything else has been extremely lackluster. You can probably say that the initial release of Call of Duty Modern Warfare and Warzone were fun. And it was. I will say that. 2019 Call of Duty Modern Warfare was extremely fun. And I played the fuck out of that game. It didn't, especially because there was lockdown. But not just that, Cold War was shit. I don't care what any of you say, Cold War was fucking boring. And then since then, it's just been horrible again. Warzone at first was extremely fun. Once Cold War got in the mix and they added more guns and things became broken, cheaters just got out of control, the maps changed too much, and now apparently the new Warzone map is absolutely fucking terrible and no one likes it. And even to creators that still play it, it baffles my mind of how they do so. I don't know how you can put yourself to play a game like that. So I think that one thing that's going to be good, at least with Microsoft, and I remember it being talked about when Microsoft were looking to first acquire Activision-Blizzard, was that they were going to stop annual releases of Call of Duty, which is the best fucking thing that you can do for that game franchise. Because to me, Activision-Blizzard has just been money fucking hungry the last few years. Like that's all it's been, is that they just keep shitting out these terrible fucking games, knowing that people are just going to buy them because they're extremely stupid and just because of the name. That's it. If you put a Call of Duty game out without the title, no one would fucking buy it because they're shit. I don't care what you say, but Call of Duty games in the recent years, besides 2019 Modern Warfare, are terrible. They're terrible. Their campaigns are horrible. Their multiplayer is horrible. Warzone itself has gone to shit. You know, I don't know how creators still play it. There's so many better BR games, or just games in general, that are so much better to play, especially competitive games. You could play League. You could play Valorant. Don't play fucking Overwatch. That's for goddamn sure. But just play any other competitive game. Play Apex Legends. As much as I don't really like the state that Apex is in, I'd rather play that than fucking Warzone. It's terrible. So I'm really looking forward to the fact that, you know, Microsoft is going to acquire it and then stop the annual releases of Call of Duty. Because a lot of the times they get released way too early, unfinished, and they're just terrible. They're just a mess. And I also hope that with Microsoft's acquisition of Activision, maybe it might encourage these modders such as SM Squared to come back and make those mods, and Microsoft won't care as much. Or Microsoft will actually take, you know, what they were doing as inspiration and use it, you know, to push the developers of this is what we should develop. Because to me, the developers of Activision, and I'm going to talk about Blizzard separately because, you know, as much as they are the same company, they're completely separate when it comes to development. A little bit the same. Activision developers have a lot of potential, and they've shown it in the past, and they have good, but it's just the publishing company themselves, Activision as a publishing company, has been horrible, terrible. And I'm moving on over to Blizzard, and to me, you know what? As much as they're separate companies, they're the fucking same. They're honestly the same, because Blizzard was one of those companies back in the day that, you know, I'd say up until, you know, maybe the release of Overwatch, even before then, they were showing a little bit of signs of going downhill. But like, especially in the 2000s and early 2010s, you knew that when you heard a Blizzard game was coming out, you knew it was going to be good. You knew. You didn't just think like, oh, this has potential. No, you fucking knew that a Blizzard game, you heard you saw the name Blizzard tagged to that, it was going to be good. Diablo 1, one of the most revolutionary games ever to set foot, ever. Diablo 2, arguably one of the best ARPGs ever, and changed the gaming, you know, world altogether. World of Warcraft, I don't need to say anything else. You know, World of Warcraft these days is a mess, and that could be a whole nother video. If you want to know about how much World of Warcraft is a mess, you just have to go to Asmongold's channel, and he's got so many recent and old videos of how terrible World of Warcraft is these days, especially for new players. But World of Warcraft is just a mess. Hearthstone, I think, is the only really like IP that Blizzard has that's doing fine, I guess. Heroes of the Storm, Blizzard gave up on that, and I don't think that's going to go anywhere anyways. The big one that I want to talk about, and the reason why I want to talk about this is because, you know, this game had a lot of potential, and if you forgot, and a lot of people have forgotten, but when Overwatch first came out, in 2019, no, not 2019, sorry. When Overwatch first came out in 2016, it was probably one of the best multiplayer releases ever. Ever. And this game had a short as fucking development. I can't remember exactly how long it took, but this game did not take fucking long to make. And it is the initial release, besides, like, you know, there was a couple heroes, I think it was Bastion and one other hero, I can't remember who it was, you know, were extremely OP at release, but man, those first few seasons of Overwatch would arguably have to be one of the best multiplayer experiences anyone could have. Honestly, and you could play, whether you're playing by yourself, or whether you're playing with friends. Overwatch was so good, but it just went fucking downhill. The content they were adding to the game was repetitive and was rubbish. All of the new heroes weren't good. Yeah, it just seemed like the developers stopped caring. And then, you know, then they were hyping up Overwatch 2, and Overwatch 2 was looking to be, you know, good for the series, and was looking to be fucking amazing. Especially with the fact that they were looking to add PvE into the game. And if you want to go and watch the initial talks about what the PvE was supposed to be for Overwatch 2. And it was going to be something like you've never played before. And I was fucking looking forward to it. Like, I was looking forward to getting back into Overwatch multiplayer, especially since the initial release of Overwatch. I garnered a lot of, like, friends that played games and stuff like that, because before then I used to play by myself, but now I had more friends who played games, so I was looking forward to playing it with them. And then, you know, I was also looking forward to just the PvE, because of how good it was meant to be. And then they cancelled it. And it's just extremely fucking disappointing. And I don't think it will happen, but there is a potential that, you know, Overwatch 2's PvE could come back. I don't know if it will happen, and it's a long stretch, but the fact that Microsoft, at least with the companies that they've already acquired, seem to be wanting to, you know, bring back a lot of these games that seemed dead, especially Fable. Fable seemed dead in the water. Didn't seem like it was ever going to come back, especially the fact that Fable 3 was released fucking so many years ago. I can't even remember last time. I can't even remember when it was released. I'm pretty sure I was still in fucking high school. I'm 25 now, and Fable 3 came out when I was in fucking high school. So you know it's a goddamn long time ago. And they're remaking that. So there could be faith in that. And I could really see Microsoft doing well for these companies, especially as a publisher, because Blizzard, you know, Activision, I said, has a lot of potential and can do good when it comes to development, but Blizzard has even more. Blizzard's development team can honestly, like, arguably Blizzard, when it comes to, like, the development team, have one of the best development teams in the world, especially like not just their history, but even recent times. They've shown sparks, but it just seems that the publishing side of Activision-Blizzard just has been, like, almost stopping the developers from reaching their full potential. And I can really see with Microsoft, and I'm really hoping for it, but I can see it. I can really see Microsoft doing well for this. And I'm fucking looking forward to the future of gaming in general, especially me as a PC player. I know that I ain't going to be affected by this. Obviously, if you're purely console and you purely play PlayStation, I mean, I feel bad for you a little bit, but it is what it is. Just know that, you know, if you're a real true gamer and not just, you know, some petty PlayStation player that's like, oh no, I can't play Call of Duty. No, it's gonna be for the better. Because you know what? I'd rather, like, have a really good Call of Duty game that I can't play on my console than have a really terrible Call of Duty game that I can play. I'd rather know that there's a good game out there that I can't play. I don't have a PlayStation 5, and I'm shattered that I can't play the new Spider-Man 2 when it comes out, but I'm happy that there's a good game out there, knowing that one day I can play it, than to have a shitty-ass fucking game in my hands. And that's what I'm hoping that Microsoft brings to Activision-Blizzard, and I can see it happening. And I'm really pumped up for the future. So yeah, that's it for me. It's a little bit longer than I usually talk, but I'm really excited. I love video games, and Activision-Blizzard is, you know, like top 5, like, when it comes to video game companies, man. Honestly, and I could see Microsoft also bringing back, before I finish as well. I'm just gonna keep rambling on, but I gotta stop rambling on. But one more thing, I can really see Microsoft bringing back some of Activision's old IPs. If you don't know, they also own the rights to Guitar Hero. I could see it fucking coming back. I can see it coming back. And also, Microsoft, if you ever get to this, we want World of Warcraft 2. Alright? Take that shit down. It's terrible the way it is. Take it down and re-release it as World of Warcraft 2. Remove the whole fucking thing, remake it from the ground up, and it'll be a fucking good game, and everyone will want to play it. That's it from me. Appreciate you guys heaps. A little bit longer than I usually talk, but I'm looking forward to this so goddamn much. Catch you guys later. Peace out.